They gathered in my living room on a Tuesday morning, all three of them dressed like they were closing a business deal. My son, Marcus, wore his gray suit, the one I bought him for his first real job interview. His wife, Vanessa, had on that cream blazer she always wore when she wanted to look important. And their lawyer, a young man with slick-back hair and a leather briefcase, sat on my late husband's favorite chair like he owned it. I was pouring tea. "Mom," Marcus said, shifting in his seat, "we need to talk about the house." I set the teapot down carefully. The china made a soft clink against the wooden tray. I had been expecting this conversation for months, ever since Vanessa started mentioning retirement communities in her bright, helpful voice, the kind of voice people use when they're trying to sound kind while taking something from you. "All right," I said, "let's talk." Vanessa smiled. She had perfect teeth, the kind that came from expensive orthodontia and regular cleanings. "We've been thinking, Mom, and we really believe it's time for you to move somewhere more suitable, somewhere with people your age, activities, medical staff on hand." I nodded slowly. "I'm 72, Vanessa, not 90. "But you're alone," Marcus added quickly. "Dad's been gone 5 years. This house is too big, too much upkeep. We worry about you." I looked at my son. He had his father's eyes, but not his father's spine. Gerald would never have let someone else do his talking for him. The lawyer cleared his throat. He looked about 30, maybe younger. His suit was expensive, but didn't quite fit right in the shoulders. "Mrs. Carter, I'm David Hughes. I've prepared some documents that would make this transition much smoother for everyone involved." He opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick stack of papers bound with a black clip. The top page had my name on it in bold letters. "What kind of documents?" I asked. "A transfer of property," Vanessa said, leaning forward. "We found you a beautiful apartment at Meadowbrook Senior Living, 2 bedrooms, a little kitchen, a lovely view, and we'll handle the house, all the stress of maintaining it, the property taxes, the repairs. You won't have to worry about any of it." "You want me to sign over the house?" I said, not a question. "It makes sense, Mom," Marcus said. "You'd have security. We'd take care of everything. And when you're gone, there won't be any complicated estate issues. It's cleaner this way." I picked up my teacup. The tea was still hot, steam rising in a thin curl. I took a small sip and watched them watching me. "Have you read through the contract, Mrs. Carter?" David asked. "It's fairly straightforward, standard transfer of deed with a life estate provision, which means you'd retain the right to live here until you choose to move or, well, until you pass away." "How thoughtful," I said. Vanessa's smile widened. "We knew you'd understand, and really, Mom, this is what's best. At your age, understanding all these legal terms can be overwhelming. We just want to help." I set my cup down and looked at the papers. 47 pages. I could see that from where I sat. The font was small, the margins tight. They'd made it dense on purpose, counting on me to skim it or give up. "You're too old to understand contracts, Mom," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "Let us handle the complicated stuff. That's what family does." The room went very quiet. Even the clock on the mantel seemed to hold its breath. I stood up slowly, smoothing my skirt. I walked to the bookshelf, the one Gerald built when we first moved into this house 43 years ago. On the 3rd shelf, behind a row of old novels, I pulled out a leather portfolio I hadn't touched in 5 years. "Do you know what I did before I retired, Vanessa?" She blinked. "You were a secretary, weren't you?" "No," I said, opening the portfolio. Inside were certificates, letters, commendations. I pulled out one document in particular and laid it on the coffee table in front of them. "I was a corporate attorney. I specialized in contract law for 30 years. I drafted the merger agreement for Halstead Industries when Brennan Corp bought out Brennan Corp in 1998. That deal was worth $400 million. Marcus's face went pale. Vanessa's smile vanished completely. I picked up the contract David had brought and flipped to page 12. This life estate provision, for example, it's void. The language contradicts itself in section 4.2, which means neither party is actually bound by its terms. And here, I turn to page 19, this clause allows for immediate sale of the property with only a 30-day notice to the life estate holder, which means I could be evicted from my own home in a month. David's face flushed red. He reached for the contract, but I held it out of reach. And this, I continued, turning to page 31, is the real gem. Transfer of all liquid assets to the property's new owner for estate management purposes. That's my pension, my savings, my late husband's life insurance payout, everything. You didn't just want the house, did you, Vanessa? You wanted it all.
Marcus stood up. Mom, I didn't know. I swear I didn't. Sit down, Marcus. He sat. I turned to Devin. You should be disbarred for this. It's elder financial abuse, coercion, and fraud. I could have your license pulled by Friday. The young lawyer grabbed his briefcase and stood up. I was just doing what my clients asked. Then you're either incompetent or complicit, I said. Either way, get out of my house. He left without another word. The door clicked shut behind him, and the silence that followed was thick and heavy. Vanessa stood up, her face twisted with anger. You can't live here forever, you know. You're old, you'll get sick, you'll fall, and when you do, don't come crying to us. I won't, I said. I never have. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Marcus stood, looking torn, looking lost. He opened his mouth to say something, but I shook my head. Go with your wife, Marcus. You made your choice when you walked in here today. He left, and I was alone. I stood in my living room for a long time, holding that contract, feeling the weight of betrayal settle into my bones. I had raised that boy, changed his diapers, stayed up with him through fevers, taught him to read, paid for his college, and he had walked into my home with legal papers designed to rob me blind. I sat back down and poured myself another cup of tea. My hand didn't shake. My breath was steady. I had survived worse than this, but I was going to make sure they never forgot what they tried to do. That evening, I called an old colleague. His name was Raymond Park, and we'd worked together at Morrison & Hale for nearly 2 decades. He was semi-retired now, but he still took on select cases, mostly for people he respected. June, he said when he answered, it's been years. I need a favor, Ray. Name it. I told him everything, the contract, the lawyer, the life estate trap. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. You kept your license active, didn't you? He asked. I did, just in case. Good, because we're going to bury them. We spent the next 3 days building the case. I pulled every document I had, the deed to the house, Gerald's will, my financial records, the original contract Devin had brought. Raymond brought in a paralegal to help with the filing, and we prepared a formal complaint to the State Bar Association. But that wasn't enough, not for me. I wanted them to understand what they had tried to take. So I started writing. Every night after the house went quiet, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and wrote out everything. Not just the contract incident, but years of small cruelties. The way Vanessa always seated me at the far end of the table during family dinners. The way Marcus stopped calling unless he needed something. The birthdays they forgot. The holidays they spent with her family while I sat alone. I wrote it all down, not for a lawsuit, but for a record. Because sometimes the worst betrayals aren't loud, they're quiet, 1,000 tiny cuts that bleed you dry before you even notice. On the 4th day, Marcus called. Mom, can we talk? About what? About the other day. I'm sorry, I should have looked at the contract closer. I should have trusted you. I didn't answer right away. I let the silence stretch, let him sit in it. I should have, I said finally, but you didn't, and that tells me everything I need to know." Vanessa said she was just trying to help. She said the lawyer told her it was standard. "Marcus," I interrupted, "do you think I'm stupid?" "No, of course not." "Then stop lying to me. You knew what that contract was. Maybe not every detail, but you knew. You've been pulling away for years. This was just the next step." He was quiet. I could hear him breathing, could picture him sitting in his expensive home office, surrounded by things my money helped him buy. "I don't know what you want me to say," he said finally. "I don't want you to say anything. I want you to leave me alone." I hung up. The lawsuit moved forward. Raymond filed a formal complaint against Devin Hughes with the Texas State Bar. We also filed a civil claim against Marcus and Vanessa for attempted fraud and elder financial abuse. It wasn't about the money, it was about the principle. Vanessa called once, screaming into the phone about how I was ruining their lives, how they were only trying to help, how ungrateful I was. I listened for about 30 seconds, then hung up and blocked her number. Marcus sent emails, long, rambling apologies that didn't actually apologize for anything. He claimed he was under stress, that Vanessa had pushed him into it, that he never meant to hurt me. I deleted them without reading past the first few lines. 3 months later, the Bar Association suspended Devin Hughes's license pending a full investigation. The civil case was settled out of court. Marcus and Vanessa paid me $75,000 in damages and signed an agreement promising they'd never contact me again unless I initiated it first.
I donated the money to a nonprofit that provided legal aid to elderly people facing financial abuse. I didn't need it. What I needed was peace. I thought that would be the end of it. I really did. But 6 months later, on a cold February morning, someone knocked on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. The mail had already come. I didn't have appointments. I almost didn't answer, but the knocking continued, patient and persistent. When I opened the door, a young woman stood on my porch. She was maybe 25, with dark hair pulled into a ponytail and Marcus's exact nose. "Mrs. Carter?" she said. "Yes." "I'm Lily, Marcus's daughter." I stared at her. I hadn't known Marcus had a daughter. He'd never mentioned her, never brought her to family events. I didn't even know he'd been married before Vanessa. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside. She sat on the couch, hands folded in her lap, and looked around the room like she was trying to memorize it. "This is a beautiful house," she said. "Thank you." "My mom told me about you," Lily said. "She said you were kind, that you used to send me birthday cards when I was little." I had. Before Marcus's first divorce, before he stopped talking about his daughter entirely, I'd sent cards and small gifts. Then one day, the address stopped working, and Marcus wouldn't give me a new one. "Why are you here, Lily?" She took a breath. "Because my dad's in trouble, and I think you're the only person who can help him." I didn't say anything. I just waited. "He and Vanessa are getting divorced," Lily said, "and she's taken everything, the house, his business, his savings. She's claiming he coerced her into signing a prenup under duress, and she's got lawyers who are making it stick. He's going to lose everything." "That's not my problem," I said quietly. "I know," Lily looked down at her hands. "I know what he did to you. My mom told me about the contract, the lawsuit, all of it, and I don't blame you for hating him." "I don't hate him," I said, and it was true. Hate required energy I didn't want to spend. "I just don't trust him." Lily nodded. "I don't either, but he's still my dad, and I don't know what else to do." I studied her. She had Marcus's eyes, but there was something else there too, a steadiness, a gravity. She wasn't here to manipulate me. She was here because she was desperate. "What do you want from me?" I asked. "Help him with the prenup case." You're a contract lawyer. If anyone can find a way out, it's you." I almost laughed. Almost. "You want me to help the man who tried to steal my house? You want me to help my father, who made a terrible mistake, who's paying for it now, and who doesn't have anyone else?" I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet. A few kids riding bikes, a dog barking in the distance. Normal, simple, safe. I thought about the last 30 years of my life, the courtrooms, the conference rooms, the deals I'd brokered, and the contracts I'd written. I'd been good at my job, excellent even, but I'd also been fair. I never let personal feelings cloud my judgment. And maybe, despite everything, that was still who I was. "I'll look at the prenup," I said finally, "but I'm not promising anything." Lily's face flooded with relief. Thank you so much." "Don't thank me yet." 2 days later, Lily brought me the prenup. It was a disaster. 32 pages of contradictory clauses, vague language, and loopholes big enough to drive a truck through. Whoever drafted it had been either incompetent or malicious. I spent a week going through it, line by line, cross-referencing it with Texas family law statutes, and by the end, I'd found what I was looking for. Vanessa's lawyers were claiming duress because Marcus presented the prenup only 2 days before the wedding. Under Texas law, that could be grounds for invalidation if the prenup was found to be unconscionable or signed under pressure. But the prenup itself contained a clause that waived the right to claim duress, and Vanessa had initialed it. She'd signed off on the very protection she was now trying to use. It was a small thing, a single initial on page 18, but it was enough. I called Lily. "Tell your father to get a new lawyer, someone competent, and tell them to look at page 18, clause 9.4. Will that help?" "It will." "Thank you, Mrs. Carter." "Don't thank me, Lily. I didn't do this for him." I hung up before she could ask what I meant. 3 weeks later, Marcus called. "Mom." I didn't answer. He continued, his voice strained. "I don't know if you'll even listen to this, but I wanted you to know the prenup held. Vanessa's case fell apart. My lawyer said it was because of something you found." Silence. "You helped me anyway," Marcus said, "and I don't understand why." I closed my eyes. "Because your daughter asked me to." "Lily?" "Yes. She came here, she asked me to help you, and I did it for her, not for you." He was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was thick. "I'm sorry, Mom, for everything, for the contract, for pushing you away, for being a coward." "I know you are," I said, "but that doesn't change anything. Can I see you just once?" I thought about it, really thought about it, and then I said, "No, you made your choices, Marcus. Now you have to live with them, just like I'm living with mine." I hung up. I never spoke to him again. Lily kept visiting. She came by once a month, sometimes more. We'd have tea, talk about her job, her friends, her life. She never mentioned Marcus unless I asked. She never pushed me to reconcile. She just came. And slowly, carefully, we built something that felt like family. One afternoon, about a year after she first knocked on my door, she asked, "Do you regret helping him?" I thought about it. "No, I regret that I had to, but I don't regret doing it." "Why?" "Because you deserve to have a father who wasn't destroyed, even if he didn't deserve to be saved." Lily smiled. "You're a better person than I would have been." "I'm not better. I'm just tired of anger. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you smaller." She nodded, and we sat in comfortable silence. 2 years after the contract incident, I started volunteering at a legal aid clinic. I helped elderly clients review contracts, navigate probate, protect themselves from financial abuse. I did it twice a week, every week, and it filled a space I hadn't realized was empty. One day, a woman came in with a contract her son had asked her to sign. It was eerily similar to the one Marcus had brought me. Same structure, same deceptive clauses, same trap. I helped her find a lawyer. I walked her through every line, and when she finally understood what her son had tried to do, she cried. "I don't know what to do," she said. "He's my son." "I know," I said, "but you can't let love make you blind. You can still love him, but you don't have to let him hurt you." She took my advice. She didn't sign, and a month later she called to thank me. "I told him no," she said, "and you know what? He got angry. He said I was being selfish, but I didn't back down." "Good," I said. "You did the right thing." "Because of you." "No," I said, "because of you." I'm 74 now. The house is quiet, but it doesn't feel lonely anymore. Lily visits often. She brings her boyfriend sometimes, a kind man who laughs easily and treats her well. They talk about getting married, about starting a family. I hope they do. I hope they fill this house with noise and life and love. But even if they don't, I'll be all right. I've learned that the hardest contracts aren't the ones you sign. They're the ones you break, the ones that say you owe something to people who hurt you, the ones that say family means forgiving everything. I don't believe that anymore. Family is who shows up, who stays, who earns it, and I'm at peace with that. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. The handwriting was shaky, unfamiliar. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. It was from Marcus. "Dear Mom, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect anything from you anymore, but I wanted you to know that I think about you every day, about what I did, about what I lost. Vanessa and I are divorced. She's remarried already. I'm alone, and I deserve to be. I heard from Lily that you've been volunteering, helping people like you helped me. I'm glad. You always were the strongest person I knew. I just wish I'd been strong enough to deserve you. I'm sorry, Mom. I know it doesn't matter, but I'm sorry. Marcus." I read the letter twice, then I folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. I didn't write back, but I didn't throw it away either. The thing about betrayal is that it changes you, not always in bad ways. Sometimes it strips away the parts of you that were too soft, too willing to be hurt. Sometimes it teaches you that love without boundaries isn't love, it's sacrifice, and sacrifice only works if the other person values what you're given. Marcus didn't value it, not until it was gone, and then it was too late. I don't regret that. I don't regret standing my ground, protecting myself, choosing peace over reconciliation. But I do think about him sometimes, about the little boy who used to climb into my lap and ask me to read him stories, about the teenager who told me he was my hero, about the man he could have been. And I mourn that man, the one that never existed, the one I wanted him to be. But I don't mourn the one he is. Spring came early this year. The azaleas bloomed in March, and the whole yard smelled like honeysuckle and fresh earth. I spent most mornings in the garden, my hands in the soil, pulling weeds and planting new flowers. Lily came by one Saturday and helped me plant a row of lavender along the fence. We worked in comfortable silence, the sun warm on our backs. "Do you ever think about forgiving him?" she asked suddenly. I looked at her. "Do you want me to?" She shrugged. "I don't know. I think about it sometimes.
whether forgiveness would make things easier. Forgiveness isn't about making things easier, I said. It's about letting go of anger, and I'm not angry anymore. So you forgive him? I don't think about him enough to forgive him, I said honestly. He's not part of my life. He hasn't been for years, and that's all right. Lily nodded slowly. Do you think he'll ever change? I don't know, I said, and it's not my job to find out. We finished planting the lavender, and she left just as the sun was setting. I stood in the garden for a while, watching the sky turn pink and gold, listening to the birds settle in for the night. The house behind me was quiet, solid, mine, and that was enough. 5 years passed. I turned 79. My knees ached more than they used to, and I moved slower, but I was still here, still standing, still living in the house Gerald and I built together. Lily got married. I went to the wedding, sat in the front row, and cried when she walked down the aisle. She asked me to say a few words at the reception, and I kept it simple. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, and the people who choose you every single day are the ones worth keeping. She hugged me afterward, her eyes wet. Thank you for choosing me, she whispered. Always, I said. Then one October morning, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Carter, this is St. David's Hospital. Your son, Marcus Carter, was admitted last night. He's asking for you. My heart didn't speed up. My hands didn't shake. I just stood there, holding the phone, feeling nothing. What happened? I asked. He had a stroke. He's stable now, but the doctor would like to discuss his care options with family. I'm not his family. Ma'am, you're listed as his emergency contact. Then he needs to update his paperwork. I hung up. I sat down at the kitchen table and stared at the wall. Part of me felt guilty, a small, distant part, the part that remembered rocking him to sleep, singing him lullabies, promising I'd always keep him safe. But the rest of me felt nothing. He'd made his choices, and I'd made mine. I called Lily, told her what happened. She was quiet for a moment. Are you going to see him? No. Do you want me to go? That's up to you, sweetheart, but don't go because you think you have to. Go because you want to. She did, and 2 days later she called me from the hospital. He's asking for you. I know. He's scared, Grandma. He thinks he's dying. We're all dying, Lily. Some of us just get more notice. She sighed. Will you at least think about it? I will, but I already knew my answer. Marcus didn't die. He recovered slowly, spending weeks in rehab learning how to walk again, how to use his right hand. Lily visited him regularly. She told me about it sometimes, but she didn't push me to go. He talks about you, she said once, about the contract, about how he wishes he could take it back. He can't. None of us can. He can't? None of us can. Maybe not, but meaning it doesn't erase what he did. She nodded. I understand. A year later, Marcus moved into assisted living facility, not one of the fancy ones Vanessa had tried to put me in, a modest place on the south side of town with small apartments and communal dining. Lily told me he'd sold his house to pay for it, that Vanessa had taken most of his savings in the divorce and what was left had gone to medical bills. He's alone. He doesn't have anyone except me. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? He'd built that life, brick by brick, choice by choice. I'm 81 now.
My hands shake when I write, and my eyesight isn't what it used to be. But I still live in my house, still make my tea every morning, still tend my garden. Lily and her husband live nearby. They have a daughter now, a little girl with curly hair and Marcus's eyes. Her name is June, after me. When I hold her, I think about all the things I want to teach her, about strength, about boundaries, about love that doesn't ask you to shrink. And I think about Marcus, alone in his small apartment, staring at walls that don't remember him. I don't regret my choices, not a single one, because the hardest thing I ever did wasn't forgiving him, it was choosing myself. And I would do it again.
Last week, Lily brought me a letter. It was from Marcus. She didn't say anything, just handed it to me and left me alone to read it. I sat in my chair by the window, the one Gerald used to sit in, and opened it slowly. Mom, I'm dying. The doctors say I have 6 months, maybe less. Lung cancer. I don't smoke, never did, but I guess life doesn't care about fairness. I wanted to write this while I still can, while my hands still work. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what I did was unforgivable. I tried to steal your home, your security, your peace. I let my wife convince me that you were a burden, that you didn't matter. I was wrong. You were never a burden. You were the only person who ever really loved me, and I threw that away. I don't expect you to come see me. I don't expect you to write back, but I needed you to know that I'm sorry, that I've been sorry every day since I walked out of your house 5 years ago. I hope you're happy, Mom. I hope you're at peace. I love you. Marcus. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it and set it on the table. I didn't cry. I just sat there, looking out at the garden, at the life I'd built without him. And then I stood up, walked to my desk, and pulled out a piece of paper. I wrote carefully, slowly, the words coming easier than I expected. Marcus, I received your letter. I'm not coming to see you. I think you already know that. But I want you to understand something. I don't hate you. Never did. What you did hurt me, but it didn't destroy me. I'm still here, still strong, still whole. I forgive you. Not because you asked for it, but because I don't want to carry anger anymore. Life's too short, and I've wasted enough of it on people who didn't deserve my energy. You're dying, and I'm sorry for that, truly. But we all die, Marcus. What matters is how we live. I lived my life with integrity, with strength, with love for the people who earned it. I hope in the time you have left, you find some kind of peace. Goodbye. Mom. I sealed the letter and gave it to Lily. She mailed it for me. Marcus died 3 weeks later. Lily called to tell me. I thanked her, told her I loved her, and hung up. I didn't go to the funeral. But I planted a tree in the garden, a small oak, the kind that would outlive me. I didn't do it for him. I did it for the boy he used to be, the one I'd loved before he became someone I couldn't recognize. And then I let him go. I'm 82 now. My hair is silver, my hands are spotted, and I move slowly through the house that's been mine for almost half a century. But I'm still here, still standing, still whole. Lily visits twice a week. Little June calls me Gram and climbs into my lap to hear stories. I tell her about her great-grandfather, about the house we built, about love and strength and knowing when to walk away. She doesn't understand it all yet, but she will. And when she does, I hope she remembers that the contracts that matter most aren't written on paper. They're written in the choices we make, the boundaries we hold, the love we give to people who've earned it. I wrote corporate law for 30 years. I drafted million-dollar deals and saved failing companies. But the most important contract I ever wrote wasn't for a client. It was for myself. The one that said, I am enough. I am worth protecting. I will not be diminished. And I honored that contract until the very end. That's the story I want June to know, not the one about betrayal and anger and hurt, but the one about a woman who chose herself and never looked back. If this story resonated with you, please don't hesitate to like this video. Join the family by subscribing to this channel so we can share more with each other. Please leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from.